G'day viewers, my name's Graham Stevenson and I'd like to invite you to come on a journey of creativity and learning and adventure through the series Colour in Your Life. There's an artist in every family throughout the world, and lots of times there's an artist deep down inside all of us as well. So grab your kids, your brothers, your sisters, your aunties, uncles and mums and dads and come and see how some of the best artists in Australia do what they do.
Well, g'day viewers and welcome back to Colour in Your Life. As you can see, I'm surrounded by colour and a man that's probably one of the most colourful contemporary artists in Australia, and I think probably one of the best contemporary artists in Australia as well.
Thanks, mate.
Mr. Anthony Breslin.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for having us in your studio, mate.
Thanks for coming, I appreciate it.
It's fantastic. I saw Anthony's work at the Melbourne Art Fair about 10 or 11 years ago, I think it was, and just fell in love with it straight away and knew of a number of galleries that actually had Anthony's work. I just sort of thought, when you look at it, it's three-dimensional. I mean, Anthony uses sort of so many things in your work. It's just incredible what you do. I'd like to say before we start the show that I think Anthony's probably one of the greater artists as far as community awareness is concerned in this country. This man does so many great things for the community of Melbourne and generally as a whole right across the country. He's very generous with his time. He does a lot of community events, stages art events. Also puts on plays. He's got, which we'll be showing as we go through the show today, a play that he's done, an artistic play called Tribe. He's written plays himself. I mean, your background is extensive. It's really quite amazing. But we're going to spend the day with you and create some of these pieces of yours. It's going to be a different show because generally we go through a process, but because of the way that Anthony conducts his life and does what he does with his art, it's going to be probably in segments of how he creates various positions in his work. But it's an amazing work, very, very from the gut, very ethereal, I would say, with what you do, and we're going to go ahead and do that, but it's just fantastic to be here with you.
Thank you, it's great to be here with you, mate.
Thank you, mate. Well, we'll make a start, and then I'm going to talk to, he's got this litany of galleries that he's been in, and exhibitions and awards he's received, and other television shows that he's done, celebrities. He's been working with some great celebrities as well. But we'll talk about that as we go through. But we're going to make a start on some of the processes that you did to put all this together. So let's go and grab some stuff.
Okay, let's do it.
Thanks. Okay, well, one of the things that you'll notice about Anthony's work as we go through the day, and we're going to do a couple of different pieces today and sort of jump from one to the other, because generally sometimes, I mean, you're moving around the room like Jackson Pollock on heat. It's like you're throwing stuff everywhere. So we're sort of going to be a little bit more conservative today. But you go through the process of making these faces. That's the finished one. And obviously this one here, and there's these various stages. And I mean, it's so much out of your imagination, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't really refer to anything from the natural world, as you call it.
Yeah.
I just make them all up.
You just sort of do.
Much. Yeah, just start, you know, and something will form into something else, and all the faces and the heads, I don't really know where they come from. They just kind of come to exist.
But let's make a start on these guys here. How do we go about, what do you do?
Well, what I've just, I don't know, over time I've just developed this style where I'll start to draw the head with paint like this, where I want the eyes.
Oh, right. Yeah, but your work's so distinctive.
Well, when I'm doing the lines, I kind of have an idea of what I'm going to do when I draw it. Like, as I'm doing it, I go, okay, I can leave that bit out because I'm going to draw this bit in, and
These very expressionistic, abstract heads are really much a marker of your work as well, aren't they? They feature just about in everything that you do.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I started off years ago by doing these landscapes that had no heads in them, and then all of a sudden I developed this process of drawing these heads in paint, and then I thought, you know what, I don't want to paint it in, I want to draw it in. So something like that, it takes a long time. It takes me 2 hours, and I'm quick at it, but it takes me 2 hours still to fill in all this with pencil.
Yeah.
And then I paint some over the top and build up the layers, but it still takes 2 hours just to fill that in, at least 2 hours just to do one head like that, even though it's not that big. Yeah, with pencil. But it's got a different texture with pencil than it would with paint.
Definitely.
Against the painted background. So it builds up these levels of texture and different feel to all of them. So
and there's so many different layers. I mean, I was just noticing that there's a whole bunch of tubes. You don't throw your empty tubes away.
No, I keep them, and I actually get friends of mine sometimes to keep their pellets with oil paint on it, because it's a really thick texture of oil paint, and I'll cut them out, and sometimes I'll place them into heads as well, all through it with pellets and plates and knives and forks. And
that's fantastic.
All kinds of things.
So that one's still wet. You reckon that's a couple of hours to dry?
Yeah, a few hours to dry that one.
Okay, we'll put that one over there.
I've got no hairdryer, so I can't dry any quicker.
Yeah, I know how you feel.
I was going to borrow yours, but
that wouldn't have worked, I can assure you. But obviously you need, you've got your board here to put down. So we'll bring that up.
There's no preciousness here, mate, so we can just chuck this board on top like this.
Okay. So coloured pencils.
Coloured pencils.
Okay.
I've got a whole box here, and then I've got one here in purple. So then I just start the process of colouring in. So I'd colour all this in one colour like this.
And so what sort of pencils are you using?
Bit of a mixture. Lyra.
Yeah.
Lyra pencils.
Which are good.
They're good, I reckon, and Prisma, but I need pencils that are soft that have strong colour. Like some of them are just too chalky, some brands, I can't use them very well. They just don't work as well. They need to be kind of vivid.
You actually cut this out now, don't you?
Yeah, the next stage I'd cut it really finely out.
Okay.
The cardboard right to the line.
So you went to RMIT in Melbourne and got a Bachelor of Arts degree.
I did.
So when did, I mean, your style is so individual. How did this all come about? I mean, when you see a Breslin, there's nobody else in Australia that paints like you do. It's simple as that.
I'm glad you think that.
Yeah.
I didn't set out to try and do something really different from other people. It's when I came from a theatre background, and then I got into art school. But I was good at art when I was young, but I got thrown out of school twice. So I never thought I'd go back and get a degree.
Yeah.
So for me to get a degree as a mature age student was quite an achievement, because when I went to university, I got in first application, and I only applied for one art school, and then I applied for psychology degrees after that. So I got into RMIT, and I was living in Africa and Ireland at the time, and I was getting really influenced by African culture in particular. I hitchhiked around Africa for about a year. And I came home for the interview after 2 years of being away, and when I got into art school, the first day they said, "Hey everybody, congratulations, there was 2,000 applications, 55 spots," and I went pale. I was like, 55 spots? I couldn't believe I got in. I didn't realise how difficult it was, but most of the other people who were in did, because they've been applying for years, but I'd come in completely ignorant, and that probably was a saving grace. And what got me in was all the drawings I was doing, which are very different from these, and there's a couple around here. I did when I was travelling out of a backpack. Yeah, which are highly detailed, done with big biros and pencils. They're very different from this style. Yeah,
I mean, your work is incredibly diverse, and there's a lot of storytelling in there as well with what you do. It's sort of, it's not just, sometimes you'll see a focus of a portrait or something, but yours is, it continues to move all the time. Well,
I guess my hope is that it keeps moving, and the more you look at it, the more you find. And I have this words I use with my work, I call it an illiterate narrative. Yeah. Because I come from theatre, I'm really interested in theatre and theatre dynamics and trying to move a person towards a painting and away from it. I like the idea of creating a narrative that's illegible, so the person becomes creative as the viewer. I'm not trying to spell something out to them, and they'll find their own meaning in it, or just register with them as meaning something in particular, and I have no right to say it doesn't mean that.
Once we've done that, how do we go about putting this as part of the picture as well?
Well, the next stage would be to bring out the heavy artillery.
Okay.
And that's liquid nails from the building. Liquid nails this onto the canvas next.
Okay, let's do that then.
Okay.
Okay, from here,
from here.
We
Liquid nails it.
Okay.
So
It's a sort of closer I look at your work, I can see it all coming together now.
You can. All the secrets
So it's just on the outside, or to cover the whole thing?
Whoops.
Holy dooly.
We just spread that out a bit. Woohoo! Okay, so go around the outside. Put a few lines through the middle. And then stick it down. Okay, you ready?
Yep.
So I think I'm going to go in that angle.
Okay. It doesn't matter if anything pops out the side, or just ends up part of the picture in the end?
It does, but it gets covered.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never use PVA or anything like that, because I just don't think it's strong enough.
Yeah. Liquid nails will do it.
This head's got about 10 levels of fixative on it as well, so the pencil doesn't smudge.
Oh, so you've actually sprayed the top of that?
Yeah, lots of
fixative?
Fixative.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over the edges.
So you would go through quite enormous amounts of paint in your work too, wouldn't you?
I do, yeah. Look, you know, because I do a lot of outdoor, you know, installation and stuff like that. I kind of use a lot of that paint too. I use a lot of house paint.
Yeah.
And with stuff like this, I'll leave the tin open for a while, so it usually gets a bit thicker.
Yeah.
And then this guy, I'm going to do the starting of some sort of headdress for him, which I'll paint in when it dries.
I mean, when you look at where you are, I mean, you've bought an old church in Carnegie in Melbourne, and then Carnegie.
It's the Paris end of Melbourne.
Okay, Carnegie. And then you've got the restaurant cafe downstairs.
Yep.
And you've got your studio and your area upstairs, and then there's another section even up from that.
There's a third floor, yeah.
There's a third floor,
Yeah,
but I see when we were just downstairs before, the people, this whole community knows who you are. There's a real community spirit, and you're very much a part of that, particularly with the kids and working on the installations with them and all the projects that you do. It's just fascinating.
I mean, I love the whole community effect the building's had. In 1 year of opening, it took me 3.5 years to build it, but in 1 year of being opening, it's a very successful place because of the attitude of the place. You know, like we just embrace people coming here and spending time, and we don't, not after their money as such, you know.
Sure.
And because I sponsor free programs and all that kind of stuff as well, it all adds to it all. So I put a neck on this, what I call a neck anyway.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like a bit Dr. Zeus-ish, I guess, which is I'm a bit of a fan of Dr. Zeus.
Mm-hmm.
And we can place this one out of here now if you like, and I can show you what I would do next.
On this guy here?
On that one there.
Sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, let's take this one outside.
Okay.
Okay. All right, guys, well, as you can see, Anthony's just started working on this other piece, and you've informed me that it's only like about halfway finished.
Yeah, probably just over halfway. Like I've got a lot to do on it.
Okay.
I've got to, yeah.
So what's the central theme of this picture?
Good question, Graham.
There you go. How deep do you want to get into this?
Well, it's a hard one to answer. I mean, I guess it hasn't really got a central particular theme. You know, it's just theatre, movement, trying to create some sort of literal narrative between the characters.
Sure.
I guess the colour of it's very bright, and but the faces aren't particularly happy. They've got kind of complex, introspective, kind of unsure, nervy feel to them. So by doing that, by developing the characters like that, I try and make the painting not become this joyful, one-dimensional kind of presentation of something. It's the more you look at it, the more you start to go, what's the relationship between that character and this character? Because he looks like he's a bit frightened, or he looks like he's a bit nervous, or he looks like a bit something else. So you start to play on the interdimensional relationship between them,
sure, without
it being just about I'm happy, because it's not really about that. But the colour kind of gives a facade of that, but it's not really the intention. It's about this multi-dimensional world, which is like a correlation of what we live in. So it's like yes and no at the same time. It's not yes and it's not no. It's not joy and it's not despair. It just
is.
Just is. Yeah.
Obviously, with your background and the amazing things that you've done in the time that you've been an artist, obviously a playwright, developing this stage show, this musical stage show called Tribe, that was about music and art, that was filmed. This is an extraordinary thing to put together. Tell me a little bit about that, mate.
One day I was doing a painting and I was working down on one of these heads on the floor, and I thought, how can I develop a theatre show that's about the act of creation, that lets people into someone struggling in the act of creation, but within the act of creation is the fact that they're seeing a person struggling with their own hurdles. They place in front of them with their own mind. So we place the hurdles and we jump the hurdles. And that's where Tribe came from. I started getting a sketchbook out and drawing all these pictures of this head and these dancers moving around. All these dancers were going to play a colour and they were going to come to me, and I was going to have to deal with that colour and what that colour meant to me, and then incorporate it into this painting and then paint them into the painting. So they became as one with the painting, and then the painting came to life. As with life, a lifetime, or how I see it, and a painting, people walk up to a painting, they look at it, they project onto it what it means to them, because they don't know who you are, because they only know them in reference to you, and that's just the way it is. So when someone dies and we go to the funeral and we cry, not for them, we cry for our loss of them, because they're gone. And we also project onto them what they meant to us in our life, but we don't really know who intrinsically they were to them in their life. And art's similar to that, you know. So Tribe kind of tried to capture that element, and then doing the show in 2006 was an amazing experience outdoors. It was very successful, and then redeveloping it in 2013, where I brought in projectors and made it into a real multimedia extravaganza, was, yeah, it was hard work and it was very challenging, but it was an amazing experience to do and have a nine shows in a nice big theatre. And
it's amazing. You've done stuff with Myers as well, in their windows. Raising money for charity once again, working with people like Ron Barassi, and then doing those three-dimensional faces that you do, which are fantastic. And we've actually got one of Molly Meldrum that you were working with as well, and you know, painting Molly. And I was saying before when I saw the video that I said, "Did you do that? Did you do the hat?"
I did get to do that.
Yeah.
That was a great project. They came to me. I did two major projects in the Myers windows.
Yeah.
The first one I pitched to Myers. Yeah, it was a good pitch. I knew they would benefit from it.
Yeah.
I wanted them to give me their windows for, like, you know, a week.
Yeah.
Their main windows in Burke Street, which I don't really give out to anybody very often. But I wanted to raise money for TLC for Kids, which I'd done some work. I'd built a giant installation world for them, for all these kids with terminal diseases. So I went to Myers and said, I want to have an exhibition in the window, but I want to create the exhibition from 0 to 100. I want to create 100 paintings in a week. And then in the end we sold 95, I think, or 94.
That's fantastic.
But raised $24,000. So
fantastic.
It was great. It was a great project.
I think it's wonderful that you as a man are so community aware. You do so many great things for the elderly and kids and disabled people, you know, affirmed people. Just your generosity, I think, is just fantastic, and you've really come to a place where you use your creativity to create great situations for other people as well. You should be absolutely applauded for that, bud.
Well, you're very generous.
Absolutely applauded.
I feel like I don't really do enough, but I do a lot of projects which are trying to bring community together, installations people interact with, and art can earn money for people. It can help orphanages. It can help, you know, lots of building. I'm involved in building a school in Papua New Guinea as well. You can do all those things, and if I can be part of that, part of raising money. Like, I'm doing a performance next week where I'm doing a 1.7 metre by 1.3 painting on the ground again at a gala dinner, and then we're auctioning it at the end of the night, and all the money's going to an orphanage in Tanzania for kids with HIV.
Okay, bud, well, you've made some progress, and this is an incredible looking piece, but what we're going to do is move to a finished piece that you've done and literally explain to the viewers the whole aspect of putting the piece together. I mean, you said this one's probably about 2/3 finished, but we'll take a look at one that's completely finished and show the world what a Anthony Breslin looks like when it's done.
Okay, deal.
Great. Okay guys, well, as you can see, we've put up a finished piece of Anthony's, and they really are amazingly fascinating and so detailed and so three-dimensional, to say the least. But they just really are extraordinary, mates. So, briefly explain to me the way that you put this together. I mean, you know, why the dots where they are, why the rabbits from hell, sort of thing.
Why the rabbits from hell? That's a good question. Well, this one is finished compared to the other one, and the difference being that, yeah, it has all these dots. There's hundreds of dots in it. I mean, the dots allude to Aboriginal painting, of course, but to me they're energy and atoms and movement and give it a whole vibrancy and help with the movement of it all. And I've developed heaps of detail down here, which the other one didn't have, electrical
Yeah, I know, stuff
parts
in
there and textures through here that my son left the lids off and he dried them up, so I thought I'm going to use them. So I said to him, put them aside and I'll knock them over. Paint tubes. But yeah, this one's just a lot more finished. Even these spray lines I've put in afterwards to help some movement too. So it looks like these characters are bending and moving backwards and appearing and disappearing and all that kind of stuff. And I've painted, you know, headdresses in detail now with these guys as well. And really developed all the bead work through here and all these dots and little building blocks off kids' toys.
It's fantastic. It's been a fantastic day, mate. Thank you so much for having us in your studio.
Thanks for coming.
It's been amazing. I'd also really like to thank Anthony for his incredible community spirit. You're an amazing human being and you give so much of yourself to so many people, and you know, he really uses art as a method to, you know, really inject creativity into other people's lives, which I think is really cool. It's fantastic. Mate. Anthony also, with the fact that he's such a great businessman as well with what he does, obviously he's got his own gallery here in Carnegie, as they say, but he produces a lot of other products with his work as well. Pillows for a start. He's got these pillows out that he obviously sells quite well in the gallery and the shop and the restaurant. And you've got a book out as well, which is Anthony Breslin, Frantic Bloom.
I was very lucky to have that book published, actually.
It's fantastic, it really is. Also, which I think was really quite cool, you've got these leggings that ladies wear.
Yeah, there's leggings and there's skull t-shirts.
But just a really wide variety of stuff that anybody, if they want to come into the Breslin Gallery here in Carnegie, get in touch with Anthony, of course. But what is your website address anyway?
Well, there's me, Anthony Breslin, and then there's www.thebreslingallery.com.
Breslin Gallery. So come on, there's a lot of functions going on here. Some fantastic food downstairs.
Yeah, we have plays here. We've got a play tonight. We've got an exhibition opening today. We've got stuff on all the time. We have workshops, free classes. Drawing classes, kids yoga, meditation classes.
Yeah, I mean, just this is not just a gallery and a restaurant. It's a community centre where people can come and gather as well, which is really fantastic.
Lots of stuff going on all the time.
Amazing stuff. If you want to see, and I would love to try and get some of your work into our shop as well, just so the viewers can come in and see what you're doing. But obviously the show will be on colorinyourlife.com.au. Come in there and have a look what we're doing. Obviously you can go to our Facebook page at Colour in Your Life as well. Fantastic work. I think it's just amazing. We're down in Melbourne for another week or so just filming some of the incredible artists, but thank you, pal.
Thank you very much.
You're an absolute gentleman, you really are.
You are.
And we'll get out of here and go and do what we do always.
Yeah, get out of here.
And remember, before we go, remember guys, put some Breslin in your life. Make sure you put some colour in your life, and we'll see you next time. Bye now, guys. See ya.